Hi everyone, hope you are doing well from wherever you are watching this channel, depending on your time zone. Now, William Ruto attended Hiin crusade at the Nyayo Stadium, and immediately he was offered the microphone to speak. Ruto announced to Kenyans and the world at large that he was in a meeting with the US ambassador to Kenya, and the ambassador went there to deliver the message from the US President Joe Biden of invitation to Washington, D.C. for a state visit. According to William Ruto, that visit is going to make history in Africa for the past 20 years, whereby no African president has ever been hosted in Statehouse, US. Is going to break that record. And for that reason, it is time for Kenya to celebrate in his thinking. So this was a miracle to William Ruto in that event. It was something that he was glorifying.
Let me tell you, friends, I have just come from a meeting with the ambassador of the US. You know, and she came to tell me what you already know, that the president of the US has invited the president of Kenya for a state visit, one of a kind. In 20 years, no African president has had a state visit in the US.
Now, we are just questioning Ruto's statement in affirming that for more than 20 years, there have been never a state visit to US by any of the African president. Because we are well aware that when Uhuru was the president, in his capacity as the head of state and chief in command, he was in US invited by the former president Trump. What was that? We saw Uhuru Kenyatta hosted in Statehouse. This is not long ago. Ruto was just his deputy by that time, because we are talking about the immediate retired president. He served just 10 years, and Ruto is talking about 20 years history. Now, the question we are asking on this punchline is that what is the big news about Ruto's visit to US? What does that one mean for Kenya? Is it the first time? But before we go deep into that, just a quick request for those who are watching and you have not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing. To our returning subscribers, Samasa, thank you so much. And again, to all our viewers, please give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much, and back to this discussion. Now, what should happen in most of this state visit is that Kenya as a country should benefit because they go into many bilateral agreements in terms of working relation, business, and all that. But the problem is that those who are close to William Ruto are the beneficiaries of any visit they have made to any other country. That's the problem when you have that's the problem when you have entrepreneurs in a position of power. They only go for what benefits them, but not with the interest of Kenyans or what Kenyans will get from that. So even in his visit to the US, I don't think if we are going to feel much of that impact. Hii inaenda kufaidi yeye na wale ambao wako karibu naye, yani wandani wake. Because that's what we are. There is no any other president who has had a number of trips Ruto has made all over the world since he became president. He has broke a record in 1 year time. More than 54 visits. So he's globetrotting everywhere. Hiyo ndio kazi yake. He was even captured in international media. And the editors, after Uhuru Kenyatta, the other president who's doing so is the Nigeria president. But for Nigeria president, he is a half what Ruto has done in terms of globetrotting. Yeye amekuwa tu ni tourist huko nje, narudi anabadilisha nguo kwa airport, ndio huyo. We have never had an impact. Even there is too little. But they say every visit has a benefit. So what is he going to bring in US? Is this going to help us? Or it is for his own interest and his close allies? But above all, let us go back to the issue of 20 years history. We are seeing Ruto talking about going to US. For him, it's big news. It's huge. But we also saw Uhuru Kenyatta in his capacity in US, hosted by none other than the then president, Donald Trump. So imagine someone getting to a pulpit, an altar in a crusade where there is prayer and truth. Then you go and lie before the camera, before men of God, and before the congregation. He lied. He wants to make it look huge. But there is a message he's telling us that I am the project of US. You see? Now I'll be going there officially as their project. Because majority of Kenyans believe that Ruto was planted into power by the West forces. And US played a very critical role, especially when you see what unfolded in terms of US ambassadors at Bomas of Kenya during the presidential announcement. We know. So US has always been blamed that we are suffering because you forced someone on us. Sasa huyo ni mradi wa US, akisema anaenda huko, ianza kueleweka hivyo. Lakini amedanganya wa Kenya pia akiwa katika hafla ya maombi. Look at that. The first president in Africa in a period of 20 years to be invited to Statehouse. What was Uhuru doing there? In what capacity? Wasn't Trump the president by that time? Wasn't that Statehouse the way he was welcomed? Or what was that place? And by the way, how big is this news? Like you want to put it. Uhuru was in power. We saw him including hosting Obama here in Kenya. He hosted Obama here for not one day. Obama was here for quite good time. Wasn't that news? Wasn't that big? And his impact was felt. Ukienda Nyanza kule, there is an institution there, nzuri, he put up, it's helping people. What about training? At least they can associate themselves with that project, giving back to society. Here Ruto, nasikia to gangster oil deal, whereby Kenyans are robbed, even when international oil marketers are reducing the price of crude oil per barrel. Here in Kenya, they increase the price of fuel. So who are beneficiaries? Sio wananchi, ni wale wachache ambao wako karibu na Mheshimiwa William Ruto. Hivyo tu. So don't take this as huge news, because it has nothing to benefit you. He will come back with a lot of lies about securing jobs. We know when he will be back here, he will be talking about the number of jobs he has secured. But when you ask them how many people qualify to go for that job, they can't mention. We want him to tell us what business has he secured between US and Kenya, and we can only believe again when we see it, not when we hear. Only when we see. For Ruto, don't waste your time listening to him. Just wait to see it happening. If you don't see it happening, never take him serious, never believe what he's telling you. Hiyo ndio sasa mahali pene watu wa Kenya kwanza wametuweka. So for him it's huge news, it's big news that he's going to US. He will be hosted for a state visit, but we know he's lying to us because we saw the former president whom he was serving as his deputy in his capacity in US hosted same way. So this should never be breaking news. Let Ruto learn to say the truth. I don't know your views, but let us know in the comment section to continue with this discussion. Thank you so much and see you in our next video.